know this if you get all your news from the mainstream media, but since you're here, you probably don't. A man drove his car into convoy protesters in Winnipeg. I think it was at the legislature on Saturday afternoon. 4 people were injured. 1 was taken to the hospital. If this had happened, let's say a right-winger had driven his car into a BLM protest, this is gross. This is Tobias Tisson. This is Pastor Tobias. Look at this. Like, this person could have been pinned beside that other car and murdered. But that's your intent, I think, when you fire up a motor vehicle and hammer it into a crowd of people. Like, that's normally your intent. That's not what this guy got charged for. His name is David Zegarac. We'll get to that in a minute. He was charged with 4 counts of assault with a weapon, that would be the vehicle, 2 counts of dangerous operation of a conveyance causing bodily harm, so dangerous operation of a vehicle, dangerous operation of a conveyance, 2 counts of failure to stop after an accident knowing the driver was reckless, the driver being him, and failing to stop at the scene of an accident, 2 counts of that. But he didn't get charged with, attempted murder. Here's the footage. If you are looking, I never saw this angle before.
Yeah, the cops are saying it's miraculous. No one was seriously injured. Like, miraculous.
Yeah, well, this guy shouldn't get the benefit of being a bad murderer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Car driving. That
progressives can't even do that, right?
That protester he ran over could have been pinned underneath the other vehicle, and he could have been like, look at this. He hits him. It's just by the grace of God that guy isn't thrown under the other vehicle and murdered. So this guy gets just dangerous driving and assault with a weapon because he's a bad murderer. He gets the benefit of being bad at trying to kill people. But there's more to this story. And I think the mainstream media, especially in Winnipeg, probably knew there was more to this story because the guy who did this has been kicking around the Winnipeg arts and music scene, but also the Winnipeg anarchist scene for a very, very long time. Dave Zegarac is a radical far left-wing anarchist. This is Antifa. And he has a long history of being involved in anarchist movements. He's a 43-year-old musician from Winnipeg who describes himself as Indigenous, Serbian, and Irish. He's the frontman of Canadian punk bands The Brat Attack, Dead Peasants Revolt, Black Mass Brigade, and Class War Kids. That should give you a hint to his politics. I think the last thing he did was the Warped tour in like 2005. But anyway, his Wikipedia page is deleted, but I was able to late last night find an archived version of it. His song lyrics deal primarily with anarchist politics. He's an outspoken vegan, of course he is, and a long-time anti.
Don't want to harm anybody.
No, we don't. You know what? That's the thing. We're anti-violence against animals, but let me fire up this Jeep and run over somebody. There's a feature on him in the online publication, The Scope. It said that he founded the Apple Cart Collective. And it was formed to, it kicked off a series of shows, like music shows on International Workers' Day or May Day, which is like the labor movement thing. He moved to St. John's and he was disappointed with the lack of anarchists in St. John's. He says, I was surprised by the lack of activists when I got here. I get the gist that maybe Newfoundland is more community oriented than Winnipeg. You mean normal? Yeah. And I mean, in Winnipeg, there's this greater division between the haves and the have-nots. And
so he's disappointed at the lack of organization, just to be clear.
Yeah. But however, Winnipeg police, they are saying this is not a hate crime, but clearly, this is my opinion. This is politically motivated, obviously. That's why he drove into a crowd of freedom protesters with his vehicle, and by the grace of God didn't kill them. However, like punks in Winnipeg, they don't like him. They think that he's despised by every group or organization he's ever claimed to represent. He's got one Brat Attack song was titled "Hey Harper, you anti-choice homophobe, F off, die, die, die." Um, he is declared an internationalist. He wrote a song about it where he chooses not to recognize borders or countries and declares he stands with those who oppose social injustice. I don't know. He just rode over a bunch of people who were trying to oppose the social injustice of vaccine mandates. And now, and there are, as there tend to be with these male feminist types, serious and I think kind of credible accusations of him in the sexual realm. Rebel Time Records, no relation, announced that it would no longer be carrying releases by Brat Attack or the Class 4 Kids due to allegations of sexual assault leveled at Zegarac. Police, as you rightly point out, have described the lack of serious injury from the attack in Winnipeg as miraculous. Again, this guy gets the benefit of being bad at killing people, but that's definitely what he tried to do. And I guess my point is, where's the mainstream media on this? The guy's politics are obviously, they conform with much of the mainstream media, so they're just going to turn a blind eye to this.
I mean, I can tell you where the mainstream media's influence is in this. The mainstream media is so eager anytime anyone deemed even conservative or someone who's clearly not conservative, but when there's no information out there, anytime there's an attacker or rammer, shooter, or anything, they're very quick to blame conservative media and brand the person as a conservative. Let's look at the facts here. This person was clearly radicalized, clearly a communist, and I'm sure that communist-style state-funded media, unilateral, anti-conservative, left-wing, progressive media radicalized him in that vendetta. So they may not have covered this story, but the fingerprints of mainstream media is certainly all over it. You go all the way from Justin Trudeau to the CBC, and you use the rhetoric that they have used vilifying these truckers from all backgrounds. Some of them are extremely wealthy truck company owners. Some of them are new immigrants who maybe their uncle owns a trucking company and they're just trying to set up so they can make a better life for their family. Regardless of religion, regardless of creed, regardless of monetary situation, a group of people gathered together. And the irony here is everything that he espouses, all these principles that he, at least in concept, espouses of the working class coming together and standing up for themselves and standing up against the government. That's what the truckers are in a peaceful and non-violent way. What he is, what Antifa is, who goes around beating people up violently for disagreeing with them, ramming people in parking lots like this guy did, or during these protests, and the rhetoric of this government is decidedly fascist. So the great irony here is that much of what they espouse we're actually seeing in practice amidst these protest communities in an earnest way, but all of their actions are ultimately, when you look at what they do, Justin Trudeau speaks about sunny ways, and all he does is invoke anger and rhetoric against the vast majority of people who didn't vote for him. And lots of these Antifa types who are against fascism, who are against imposed violent rule, well, they use violence to enact their methodologies. And that's paramount and example here in him ramming these people because of the rhetoric and because of the anger that has been directed against these people who are fundamentally saying, leave us alone, respect the charter, back off. That's the essence. There's nothing racist about this. The trucker movement isn't even high-level political. It's literally just like, it's time for you to back off. This isn't what we elected you to do. There isn't a long, detailed, nuanced manifesto from the truckers. It's back off, leave us alone, respect our freedoms. That's the extent of it. And to call the people who are saying back off government, respect our freedoms, fascists, and then to run them over because you disagree with them, it's the height of irony.
Yeah. There's horns honking in my ear, Efron. Did they change the meaning of anarchist or something while I wasn't paying attention? He's running over people who are opposing the government. He's using his car to enforce government lockdowns and the narrative of the government. Efron, quit honking that horn in my ear. Like, did they? It's like
maybe we're just hearing it now.
This rapid disconnect. Oh, I heard it in my head like all Saturday night after being out of the protest. And he says he's an anti-racism activist. You can tell that this person has been radicalized by Justin Trudeau's rhetoric. Justin Trudeau goes out in the media and says, these guys are a bunch of racists. The media says, yep, the boss is right. These guys are a bunch of racists. And so low-level activist do nothing, who's never done anything of any sort of consequence in his life to make the world a better place. He's been told these people are dangerous Nazis. And he's like, I've told myself for 20 years that I'm an anti-racism activist. Now's my time to shine. And so he fires up the Jeep and drives it into a crowd of people. This video is just horrendous. I can't believe nobody's dead. Oh, hey guys, thanks for watching. That's a clip from our Rebel News Daily Livestream where we talk about the news of the day in an unscripted and interactive way. It's co-hosted at noon Eastern or 10 Mountain Standard Time by me on Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. And on Wednesdays and Fridays, we've got rotating co-hosting happening from some of our other on-air talent. So good news, there's something for everybody. We broadcast on YouTube. But if you want the full uncensored version, you're going to have to find us on Rumble, Super U, and Odyssey. And be sure to sign up for our rebelnews.com emails so that you never miss us when we go live.